BioVivacious. BioVivacious is a YouTube channel dedicated to clear fundamental concepts of biosciences. Today, we are going to take up a very interesting topic, that is about synthesis of fatty acid. Now, when we talk about synthesis of fatty acid, there was a lot of confusion how it developed. So, initially scientists thought that fatty acid synthesis is exactly the reversal of beta oxidation. So, they began experimenting in that way. Then finally, they came to the conclusion that there is a separate pathway, a totally different pathway. And the location itself is very different. It is not happening in the mitochondrial matrix like beta oxidation. It will happen in the cytoplasm. Therefore, there is a new set of enzymes catalyzing this reaction. So, we are going to deal with how fatty acids are synthesized in our system. So, when we look at the synthesis of fatty acid, we have seen that it occurs in the cytoplasm. So, I would request every student or everyone who is seeing this video to keep noting down the differences between beta oxidation and synthesis. The first difference is in the location. So, location, you will immediately write down, location is synthesis is in cytoplasm, whereas beta oxidation is in mitochondrial matrix. So, let us begin. So, it occurs in the cytoplasm. Cytoplasm of adipose tissues, which is present in liver, in brain, in lungs, in mammary glands. So, these are locations where synthesis of fatty acid occurs. Liver, brain, lungs, mammary glands, and the adipose tissues basically. Now, when we look at the synthesis of fatty acid, we also need to look at what are the requirements. So therefore, let us look at the requirements for fatty acids. So we will write the requirements. So there are several requirements for synthesizing fatty acids. So the requirements, we can list them as acetyl-CoA, the first one. Then you need a molecule known as malonyl-CoA. Then you need a molecule known as NADPH. Then we require biotin. Then there is a requirement for bicarbonate. Okay. Then manganese, etc. So these are the major requirements for synthesizing fatty acids. So now let us see how do we make each of these intermediates, how these are made available in cytoplasm for synthesizing fatty acid. We begin by looking at how acetyl-CoA is made available. So let us begin with that. Now you know that acetyl-CoA can be synthesized in many ways. So it can be synthesized from amino acids like isoleucine, valine, tryptophan, tyrosine, phenylalanine. All these amino acids can result into formation of acetyl-CoA. Another way to make acetyl-CoA is what we have seen as beta oxidation. And the third way to make acetyl-CoA is through glycolysis. So these are the different routes of acetyl-CoA. Let us begin to understand how acetyl-CoA is formed, starting from glucose. So we will write glucose here. So glucose, in the two different phases of glucose, one is it will undergo glycolysis. So when it undergoes glycolysis, you know that it will produce pyruvate. The end product of glycolysis is pyruvate. The other fate of glucose is it can go through the alternate pathways and it will produce ribose 5-phosphate. Okay. We also know that what is being produced in ribose 5-phosphate. we will be producing NADP is converted to NADPH plus H plus. Why are we highlighting this here? Because one of the requirements for requirements for fatty acid synthesis is NADPH. You see, we are making, therefore, and this reaction will take place in the cytoplasm. Therefore, we are generating NADPH as one of the sources is pentose phosphate pathway. Let us continue. So, ribose 5-phosphate can be converted to pyruvate ultimately through a series of reactions, and all this will take place in the cytoplasm. Now from cytoplasm, this pyruvate is allowed to enter into the mitochondrial matrix. So therefore, let us put it here, pyruvate is here. So this is in the mitochondria. Okay, this is mitochondria. Now pyruvate enters in the mitochondria because there is a transporter for pyruvate. Once the pyruvate is inside the mitochondria, it has got two fates. One fate is, you know that with the help of an enzyme known as pyruvate dehydrogenase, it will be converted to acetyl-CoA. That's one possibility. This acetyl-CoA is in the mitochondrial matrix. Now, another fate of pyruvate is this pyruvate can be converted to oxaloacetic acid. We have seen it in a video in the context of gluconeogenesis. So therefore it is converted to oxaloacetic acid. So our focus is on acetyl-CoA. Let us see how else we can make acetyl-CoA. So in a video we have seen that fatty acyl-CoA that is transported to mitochondrial matrix. So here you have fatty acyl-CoA. Now this fatty acyl-CoA will undergo beta oxidation and it will produce acetyl-CoA. Okay? So acetyl-CoA is made available in the matrix, mitochondrial matrix. Now, here comes a problem. If the problem is the fatty acid synthesis will take place in the cytoplasm. So we need to take this acetyl-CoA from the mitochondrial matrix to cytoplasm. How to take it out? It's a very interesting answer. To take out acetyl-CoA from mitochondrial matrix to the cytoplasm is a metabolic marvel. What our system does is, this oxaloacetic acid combines with acetyl-CoA and it forms a molecule known as citrate. The enzyme which will help in formation of citrate is known as citrate synthase. Okay, so therefore acetyl-CoA combines with oxaloacetic acid. Now the coenzyme is left behind. The coenzyme is in the mitochondrial matrix and citrate is formed. Now once the citrate is formed, and then you need to know why citrate has to be formed. If the main reason is, you look at acetyl-CoA. Acetyl-CoA, the structure, the coenzyme A unit is really large. It will not easily pass through the membrane, mitochondrial membrane. So that is the reason we are converting acetyl-CoA into a citrate molecule. Now citrate is relatively a small molecule. It has only 6 carbon atoms. Now citrate also has a carrier. So that is the interesting part. So if the carrier is here, so we will put the carrier here. This is called TCA carrier, tricarboxylic acid carrier. So now this tricarboxylic acid carrier will allow citrate to come out. Now where is citrate? Citrate is in the cytoplasm. Okay. Now citrate is in the cytoplasm. Let us rewrite the whole thing. So before that, just want to focus once more. We began with the glucose. Our main purpose was to produce acetyl-CoA. So we may convert it into pyruvate. Pyruvate is transported inside and pyruvate has got two fates, acetyl-CoA and oxaloacetic acid. So acetyl-CoA can also be made from through beta oxidation. So acetyl-CoA is made. Now acetyl-CoA cannot get out of the mitochondria because of its size. So therefore we are converting that into citrate, and now we have transported citrate outside. And at the same time, through pentose phosphate pathway, we'll write PPP, through pentose phosphate pathway, we have generated 2 ATP molecules. So it's better to write 2 ATP. From every glucose, 2 ATP molecules have been generated. So now let us start from here. Citrate is in the cytoplasm. So we begin from here, there. So now citrate is in the cytoplasm. So here is citrate. So the rest of the story is in the cytoplasm. Citrate is brought out. It's a 6-carbon compound. Once citrate is outside in the cytoplasm, now comes another interesting story. In the cytoplasm, there is an enzyme known as citrate lyase. Okay, citrate lyase. Now this citrate lyase enzyme can cleave citrate. So the 6-carbon is cleaved into acetyl-CoA and oxaloacetic acid. One of the product is oxaloacetic acid. So therefore, to make acetyl-CoA, we need a coenzyme A is required. So that is added. And then we need an ATP molecule. So it has to be broken, ATP. That will be converted to ADP and PI. Okay, so therefore now acetyl-CoA is made available in the cytoplasm. So when we were looking at the requirement, now you see how each requirement is met. So we have also looked at how NADPH is made available, how acetyl-CoA is made available in the cytoplasm. So the first requirement is taken care of. Now let us look at how do we make NADPH available in the cytoplasm. If the next requirement is NADPH, let us see how do we make the required number of NADPH molecules available. So we begin from here. So this oxaloacetic acid which is formed, let us rub the remaining portion. So we write oxaloacetic acid, one of the product that is formed from citrate cleavage. Now this oxaloacetic acid, a 4-carbon compound, it is acted upon by an enzyme known as malate dehydrogenase. Acted upon by malate dehydrogenase. So you know that when malate dehydrogenase acts on it, now it is an NAD plus dependent enzyme. So let us write NADH plus H plus. So it's reducing oxaloacetic acid. So therefore it becomes NAD plus and oxaloacetic acid becomes malate. Okay, oxaloacetic acid becomes malate. Now what is interesting is next malate, with the addition of addition of a molecule of water, we can remove a CO2 group. So HCO3 minus is removed. A bicarbonate ion is removed from malate. This is catalyzed by an NADP dependent enzyme. So we write NADP dependent plus dependent. Name of the enzyme is malic enzyme. Okay, NADP dependent malic enzyme. Now malic enzyme will convert malate to pyruvate. Okay, malate to pyruvate. And meanwhile what happens? It will produce, this is an NADP dependent enzyme, it will produce NADP plus 2 NADPH plus H plus. See, NADPH is something which we needed in the cytoplasm for synthesizing fatty acid. So NADPH is produced. So therefore every oxaloacetic acid or every acetyl-CoA, one NADPH is produced. So assume that in order to synthesize a 16 carbon fatty acid, we need 8 acetyl-CoA molecules. So therefore, 8 NADPH will be produced or made available in the cytoplasm through this conversion from oxaloacetic acid to pyruvate. What happens to pyruvate? Pyruvate will get back to the mitochondrial matrix and it will continue the same step. So therefore, if it was in the mitochondria, pyruvate will go inside and now you can complete the reaction, the earlier figure that you have drawn. So right now we have looked at how acetyl-CoA is made available in the cytoplasm, how NADPH is made available in the cytoplasm by through two mechanisms. We have made NADPH available through pentose phosphate pathway and also from NADP dependent malic enzyme also can make NADPH available in the cytoplasm. Two sources. Very good. And also bicarbonate is also available in the cytoplasm for synthesizing fatty acid. Now we look at the next requirement, that is malonyl-CoA. See, malonyl-CoA is synthesized from acetyl-CoA. So this is going to be the starting material for malonyl-CoA formation. So let us see how malonyl-CoA is formed. So if you write acetyl-CoA here, now this acetyl-CoA is converted to malonyl-CoA. It is converted to malonyl-CoA by using an enzyme known as acetyl-CoA carboxylase. So it is a carboxylase enzyme. Now remember, a carboxylase enzyme requires biotin. It requires biotin for activity. It requires a bicarbonate. And it requires ATP molecule. So ATP will be cleaved to ADP plus PI. Let us write the structure of malonyl-CoA. So the malonyl-CoA, the structure will be like this. This is the structure of acetyl-CoA. Malonyl-CoA will be, this is CH2. If the CO2 is added, this is the structure of malonyl-CoA. So far what we have seen, we have looked at the location where this fatty acid synthesis will occur and how these requirements, major requirements like NADPH, acetyl-CoA, malonyl-CoA are made available for synthesizing fatty acid. So we will be continuing with the rest of the reaction. So these things are very, very important for us to understand either how the synthesis of fatty acid occurs.